Thanks very much for tuning into Unmissable. You're watching me, Nabila Jamal, right here on News9. I take you through news from India and across the globe. Our top story on Deep Dive today, we will be delving into fake ghee, Nandini ghee, which is our favorite ghee brand that has a counterfeit, and a large racket of nearly 8,000 litres has been busted from Karnataka. We'll take you through the details of that and the health complications that could arise out of fake ghee. And also, more into our top story tonight is ex-Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death for crime against humanity. We're going to take you through details on that, on whether India will indeed extradite her or not. What do the legal implications here hold for Sheikh Hasina? And finally, in our top story on Day Tonight, we'll take you through the NIA arresting two key suspects who helped in the Red Fort blast in Delhi. As always, I start with the headlines first. Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death in Bangladesh. Bangladesh Kangaroo Court orders death sentence for the ex-Prime Minister for the deadly crackdown that she allegedly ordered in 2024. A student uprising that went against her. Allegations are that she ordered a crackdown that killed nearly 1,400 students. Sheikh Hasina refuses these claims, saying it's politically motivated. Now, the extradition decision lies squarely on India. EC orders special intensive revision in Assam ahead of 2026 polls, with Jan 1st set as qualifying date. The move follows Bihar's SIR drive as pre-revision work begins to ensure high-fidelity electoral rolls. Major revelation in the Delhi terror attack case. Umar, the man who was in the car, the suicide bomber, may have been a shoe bomber, as investigators recover metallic substance inside his shoe under the right tire that possibly could have triggered the blast as well. Karnataka to launch IT startup and space tech policies. The Chief Minister Siddaramaiah to inaugurate Bengaluru Tech Summit with indigenous AI-ready computer tomorrow. Tamil Nadu's revenue staff to boycott SIR duties from Tuesday. Statewide protest over workload, training gaps, lack of BLO staff and resources needed for SIR work. Protests likely to threaten December 4th revision deadline. The Kerala BJP launches statewide drive over Sabrimala Gold Row. Party targets 1 crore devotees' signatures, seeks Prime Minister's intervention in missing gold controversy. At least 45 Indian pilgrims killed after a bus collided with a tanker near Medina. Telangana government announces ex gratia of 5 lakh rupees each to families of the victims. All right, let's start with our top story on our favorite ghee brand, Nandini, now having a dangerous counterfeit market. Nandini ghee has a duplicate in the market. Bengaluru police have busted a massive fake ghee racket after seizing nearly 8,136 litres of adulterated Nandini ghee worth 1.27 crores. In fact, the gang was said to be selling this fake Nandini ghee made by mixing palm oil and coconut oil, and even allegedly used some dangerous chemicals in it. This wasn't a small scam, mind you. It was an interstate network that stretched from Tirupur in Tamil Nadu to Bengaluru. At a unit in Tirupur, the gang blended some cheap oils with a little bit of real ghee, turning almost 1 litre of pure ghee into 3 to 5 litres of fake ghee. They then packed it in lookalike Nandini sachets or bottles and sold it so efficiently into the market and across the market, making it almost impossible for consumers or customers to detect. Forget customers, even the own distributors of Nandini could not identify fake versus the real. To push it into the market, they in fact used a licensed KMF distributor who used his legal permit and distribution routes to slip this counterfeit ghee into wholesale shops and retail outlets. Even Nandini parlours housed some fake Nandini ghee products, we hear. During the raids, Karnataka police have seized over 8,000 litres of fake ghee, packing machines, cans of cheap oil, cash, phones, transport vehicles, and a classic picture of an entire fake racket that's running under the nose of authorities there. 4 people have been arrested, a KMF licensed distributor, his son, the man who arranged transport from Tamil Nadu, and the driver who delivered the goods. Samples are now been sent for forensic tests. This bust only comes just days after the Tirupati fake ghee scandal. Remember the Tirupati temple, there was a fake ghee scandal that was uncovered where nearly 68 lakh kgs of counterfeit ghee worth 250 crores was exposed, raising serious concerns about food safety. In fact, that case is still under investigation. Now, here's why fake ghee is absolutely dangerous. Largely, palm oil is being used, one of the main ingredients in adulterated ghee, and that carries 50% of saturated fat, largely palmitic acid. Regular consumption of this oil can raise LDL, bad cholesterol, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. When refined at temperatures above 200 degrees Celsius, we hear palm oil can also form potentially cancer-causing contaminants. Its high saturated fat content can also lead to inflammation in the body, making adulteration here not just a serious fraud, but a serious health threat. It is something that the authorities are now keenly looking into to crack down on this racket and to see how far and wide it is. Let me bring in our panelists on board today to give us a little more as a picture into this fake ghee racket, how far stretched it is. We have our former ADGP, police officer from Karnataka, Sanjay Sahai, joining us. We also have Anantu, co-convener, Safe Food Alliance, and Asha, Alliance for Sustainable and Holistic Agriculture. We also have Professor Bijan Mishra, consumer policy expert. Thank you all of you for joining us. Anantu, if I could start with you, this must be something which is very close to your heart. As someone who's been very closely looking into food safety aspect, what in your view does this counterfeit racket of Nandini ghee suggest? If it's so easy for this to happen, something like this to happen, because we a few days ago on our channel covered the story on fake Eno in Delhi. Fake Eno that was made in such scale. So products that are being used on a daily basis by consumers are being replicated, and it's scary as it is. 8,000 odd litres, which just shows how well oiled the machinery was.
Yeah, I mean, these are double whammy, as you can call it. On the first place, there is an adulteration coming in as a product itself, where there is too much of wrong deed being done. How is it extracted as an oil? What is being added in? What is the ingredient behind it? How is ghee itself brought in? It also talks about the apathy of the consumer and also about the authorities, basically. How much of a milk is needed for 1 kilo of ghee? Are we all aware of it? It will need anywhere, but if it is cow milk for that matter, it will need 20-25 liters. So if you just do a simple math of even if it is 50 rupees or 100 rupees, how much should a kilo of ghee cost us? So if it were not costing that, we are very happy. If somebody sells a ghee for 200 rupees and 500 rupees, we are so happy to go without even thinking into that prospect of how it could have been made. That's the first part. Then there is the second part, which is even more dangerous, is the counterfeit. This faking and cheating, basically, on a different brand name. In the first place, we are talking about even Tirupati, places like Tirupati. If you were to buy ghee at such a low cost, it would definitely hit in the production cycle for sure. That's what is happening. So the simple math is how much milk you need. And then there is also the second level of it. The ghee is made from milk, and how is the milk coming to you? What is the adulteration going behind the milk? Milk itself, basically, in the first place, they might be doing a lot more processing behind it. They might be taking the cream off with the creamers, and then the skimmed milk, there is an external fat added. That was what was traced in Tirupati for that matter. So whether it is in the God's place as a prasada or to the consumer, there has been a big amount of adulteration and counterfeit that is coming in. It is very important for all of us to understand it.
what are the red flags? If I may ask you, and if I could ask also our consumer policy expert, Professor Bijan Mishra, how do you really look for red flags when you're buying products to know if it is fake or real? How do you differentiate them?
Excellent question, Nabina. Very good question. You know what I firmly believe, you don't expect a consumer to go into a shop to do mathematics and calculations. The consumer goes into a shop expecting integrity, transparency, accountability, assurance of quality. He goes in because he knows that the authorities who are supposed to be doing surveillance and assuring quality are doing a good job. That's why he goes into a shop which is reliable for him, which is a neighborhood shop or maybe a good branded outlet, or could be sitting at home ordering from some of the good platforms which is selling those products, believing that it is as per quality standards, it is safe, and the consumers buy it.
Yeah.
Look at this case which you have just exposed. You know, the police has worked very meticulously to catch the culprit.
Yeah.
And they have caught the culprit. So when they have caught the culprit, they have fully analyzed the modus operandi, the scheme which works. How does it work? In what manner it works? Where does it work? And how does it work? So it's no rocket science that the police and the investigating authorities, they do not know how fake products are manufactured in our country. It is a very simple, in my view, is a very simple mathematics in terms of trying to understand the strategy which is adopted by these culprits to do food adulteration, which is not only dangerous, it also threatens life, which you have mentioned in your opening remarks. You know how serious it can be.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is that there is a clear-cut non-accountability in terms of the regulators and the surveillance system which is working in our country, which is not transparent, which is supposed to be drawing samples, making it public, ensuring that there is a recall, assuring that the supply chain is robust, it is reliable, it has an integrity. You know, these are the areas which we have to work on and which the police knows, the food safety authority knows, the state food authority knows. But the people who are being paid to do this job, they know that they can get away without being accountable. And that is why the poor consumers, they become victims. Because they don't know, they can't recognize, you know, a Nandani ghee which is fake and which is original. They can't know it. They don't know it. Please, and have a heart, you know, you don't expect him to be calculating what is the raw material cost and what should be the MRP and all that.
Yeah.
Know that the MRP is something which is santo santanum, and they will be charged only that much of price which is there marked in the MRP, and they merely pay that with a smile. And if they get a discount, they are more than happy. But the point which I am making today to you all is that the authorities which are supposed to protect my safety, who are supposed to assure my quality of products, they are found sleeping, which the police has exposed.
Absolutely. And my question to you is also, can we hold the brand Nandini itself responsible?
100%. 100%. I always say that to the brands. That if your brand is fast moving, it is very popular, you have to be extra alert and careful. Because that is the brand which is going to get targeted in terms of counterfeiting. So I always tell the brand owners that, look, you need to be alert. You need to find a mechanism in terms of tracing and tracking your product. You need to expose, you need to work with the police, you need to work with the food authorities to ensure that your product is not counterfeited. It is the brand owner's responsibility. I fully agree with you, Nabina, that the brand owners needs to be taken to task also, because they are being lenient. And I do not know why. What does in our country, it doesn't make the brand owners become more proactive. I don't understand why.
Yeah. No, we're always, our reflexes are more post-mortem than prevention.
Yeah, that's right. And not only that, they only wake up when, see, their business is getting hurt, but They don't bother because they're making enough profit.
Because I also believe that they don't realize the scale of it. But look at the scale. We also have Sanjay Sahai, who's a former cop in Karnataka, joining us. Sir, why don't you tell us? The scale of it is alarming. 8,000 odd liters of fake ghee that was found. And Nandani has, as a brand itself, has no clue about it. The police finds machines and a whole counterfeit factory. We are, in fact, flashing some of those visuals for you. So worth a couple of crores. That's the extent. And the best is, or the worst part about this is that the distribution. They've gone through a licensed KMF distributor who's taken his legal routes that they push real Nandani ghee to push fake counterfeit bottles.
One thing is very, very clear that Food and Drug Administration in this country does not exist. So there is a completely regulatory crisis which we are seeing, because drugs or food, if it is inspected, audited at regular intervals on a very random sampling basis of even 10%, I think this would have come to light, I think, much earlier. The second issue is whether people want this to come to light or not, or it is also a standard business like the seconds of liquor. So that I have absolutely no idea. The third issue is that in 2018 only, this sort of a racket was caught. And as the earlier speaker was talking about, if the brand has a value and it has a commercial scale, which is something which you can be envious of, there will be copycats which will be there all around the place. Next is that you have an authorized KMF distributor. He is a part of the same game, and I am convinced of the fact that this whole distribution network is both compromised and contaminated. And whatever we have touched upon is not even the tip of the iceberg. It is a standard well-oiled machine. I will take the liberty of going slightly out of the way, that it is a standard well-oiled machine which is happening, and might be large number of people are even aware of it. So that is where we stand. We did not take a cynical view that this has happened, that has happened, this is happening from Tirupati, it is happening all over the place. If they have not been able to be scared of Tirupati sort of a shrine, then KMF and all that, they don't come anywhere near. You see the quantum which is caught, and how do they catch? I don't know what the intelligence was. They say it is because of some pattern analysis or things of that nature that they found something awry with the pattern. I believe that discrepancy in the pattern was looked by somebody else who is not a part of the distribution machine or is not a part of that particular chain. He picked up something, he started pursuing it, and we got what we got.
What a shame. I mean, if this large network is, flourishing right under the nose of authorities, I only wonder what, first of all...
We had Maggie flourishing for 32 years.
So Nabina, can I come in?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nabina, you see, let's forget about the good old days, when we didn't have technology, we didn't have mechanisms of tracing and tracking recall, in systems to be put in place. Today we have technology, which is enabling, which will ensure that we will be able to trace and track in terms of how many packets got packed from legitimate sources and how they are being marketed and where they are. And this is going on now all over the world. And we Indians, our software engineers are making it for overseas companies, other countries, but we are not engaging those talents to do it in my own country. I don't know why. And again, the issue is the state government is completely found sleeping in such matters. I have been a member of the Food Safety Authority representing consumers in the authority. And I have always seen in these meetings, the state governments always, the representatives talk about lack of infrastructure, lack of manpower, lack of this, lack of that. That is not my business. As a consumer, I'm paying my taxes. You are mobilizing money. You should have as many inspectors as possible, but please make it transparent. Please make it accountable. Any heads have rolled after this exposure has happened?
Correct.
Has anybody got punished? I have
No,
not
just
heard that.
the person who was running this got arrested. His son is arrested. The man who gave the transport
No,
truck is
that is
arrested.
just
Very
shameful.
small,
I mean,
yeah.
Nabina, that is just putting the dirt under the carpet. Come on. I mean, there are big kingpins who are playing this role. Everybody, how did this explosion
No, that's
happen?
what I'm saying. Look at the arrests. The arrest is, one is a KMF licensed distributor has been arrested. His son is arrested. Man who arranged transport from Tamil Nadu is arrested. Driver who delivered the goods is arrested.
First of all, the officers who are concerned with food safety for those states, they should lose their job first. They are
But
supposed to be
my question is, how do you track it? How do you know how? I mean, can we entirely blame the system? How do they see every? How do they check for every? You know, in a bunch, in a whole carton,
I tell you.
in a whole
There is
carton
there
of
is scientific-
Nandini ghee carton box, like a box of
there is-
Nandini
there
ghee,
is a
there could be
scientific
5 real ghee boxes and the rest are fake. How are authorities entirely responsible here? How can they identify? Anantu,
Can
if
I
you want to
come
come into.
Yeah, I would want to.
Yeah.
See, there are two things here. We are again going into only the first part, which is just a counterfeit or a fake or a fraud. So cheating, basically. They have been using the well-established brand and bringing in a counterfeit product. That is just one part of the problem. And if we were losing our energy only on that, so what happens to the second stage where the ghee has been again and again, whether it's Nandini or it's the Tirupati Prasada or somewhere else as a simple for a consumer product in the market, why is it being, there is an adulteration? This authority that we are talking about, the monitoring, or there is an alertness that is needed from Nandini or KMF. That is just a simple process that can be set in, which has failed, of course, there is no doubt about it. Or a food safety authority has not been testing it. But here, there has to be an empowering for a consumer. So as a consumer, if I were able to go and check, if FSSA should have labs where if I have a doubt, slightest doubt, the ghee packet that I bought, so I will buy a new packet and give it for a nominal fee and they should be able to test it and immediate action should be taken. That is one process that should fall in place, whether it is Nandini or not, any ghee or any oil. Second thing is, what is the regular process of adulteration in these things? Why is ghee in the top 5 nasty list always of adulteration? Because of the cost behind it, because it's so easy, they can just bring in another very easily vegetable oil, specifically palm oil, which is way lesser, 1/10 of the cost. So that way there is a bigger feeding for the greed that they would want. So these have to be attacked at the root in the first place. And the other side is enabling the customers. That is also very important, I'm saying. Bring them also into this process of checking it. Let there be labs, easy access labs set up by FSSA. Let them go and check. It could be for checking the oil. It could be checking this. It could be for floors tomorrow, whatever it is. In this specific case, we should not get distracted just that a very popular brand, Nandini, has been shortchanged.
Yeah.
It's about a whole product and a process that is behind which has been. For example, we should also think about what is a refined oil, how is it happening, what are the ills behind it. So, which is
Can I ask you, Sir Anantu, since you've done extensive study on the health risks of fake counterfeit products like this, you know, they basically mixing some amount of real ghee but large amounts of palm oil and even coconut oil we hear. As it is, coconut oil is very healthy. But when you make, you know, these mixtures like this, you know, bisi bele baat. In
I would even
Kannada
question
language.
if you would have added more
Mixture.
coconut because today coconut is a bit more expensive than what it was some days back.
No, I want to ask you how detrimental is it for health? Sir Anantu, if you can give us a little feedback on that. Mr. Anantu, can you hear me? I think he has a problem with that. Yeah, Professor, you wanted to come in on that. You know,
I just want to tell you that all the enablers are in place as per law.
Yeah.
You know, the food authority inspectors have been empowered to go and collect samples, and there is a method of collecting samples with witnesses, vagera, so that there is no kind of a coercion or vested interest while picking up samples and things like that. It has to be done in randomized manner. You know, it is all very scientific, that you know that how to do the randomization so that you can trace the, you know, the chain, the supply chain, and you can detect and then recall, you know, those kind of batches which are being found adulterated. So there's a very good, robust protocol in place, but they don't follow it. they don't feel that they're accountable to follow it. You see, the state authorities are least bothered about the safety and health of the citizens. Like very rightly said by Sanjay ji, that, there is nothing like a food authority existing anywhere. That's the kind of a picture which we get. But then I know that there are huge number of people recruited to manage this whole infrastructure in the state. But none of them are made accountable. That's what I'm trying to say. You see, those samples are supposed to be put on the website in terms of the reports. The authorized laboratories are supposed to do that. The law says a consumer can pick up a sample and go to an authority and get it tested. This is as per law. It is there. It is there. But the consumer has to be taught how to pick up a sample. Poor chap, they don't know. And then they go to a laboratory with a sample which is not credible. So naturally, the consumer sample will not stand in the court of law. So you have to do it in a very particular manner. How can you expect a consumer to do all this? Come on now.
Absolutely. No, you're right. Absolutely right. Anant is back with us. If you can hear me, sir, your take on the perils of consuming such fake products. Of course, fake is fake, but when you look at the concoction, you're seeing palm oil, a mixture of coconut oil, and I don't know whatever chemicals that they are. I don't know what chemicals, but palm oil extensively, consumption itself is hazardous. Would you want to give us a little on the health risks?
Yeah. So any of these adulteration have another bigger peril in the form of they might need some more stabilizer, some more so something to neutralize the odor or the stability of it or the color of it. So they are adding more chemicals into it, which by themselves will be having a higher ill effect. And as a concoction, they will have a bigger thing. So the palm oil by itself, just because of the processing, the way it is being processed itself, and even hexane as a residual is found in your end product, which by itself has been a proven carcinogen. There are so many things. The extraction process itself has so many chemicals which are in the process. And then when they are doing this adulteration, there are also the cheap chemicals that would come in, like I said, for various other factors, like to just bring a color or an odor to it. So all this as a combination, as a mixture, will have even higher ill effect, basically. That is what is even more dangerous, I would say. One part of it is such a big counterfeit and economical unlawful thing that they have done, and cheating by giving a product in the name of some other product, an established product. But I'm worried about the other things that are coming into it. There has to be a clear monitoring, and there has to be an authoritative work on this, or else we will be failing. The food safety has to really wake up. Those authorities have to really come up with very stringent ways and rules for this. And the monitoring, enabling this is the most important thing, I would say.
Surely. Finally, Mr. Sahai, what's your take on how this could be brought,
Let's not bring it to the consumer. That huge amount has been done for consumer protection, consumer awareness. All that is very good. And I hope and pray that the consumer is empowered enough to take on this mighty system which is termite ridden. Every single bottle, every single product, today by usage of blockchain technology, can be imprinted with marks by which, if you follow that, you will know the sourcing of it. In South Africa, you have every single fish and every single supply chain and every single transaction can be followed by something called as a hyperledger. It is possible. It is a very doable thing. It is not a very costly technology. And blockchain technology is being used from cryptocurrency to literally anything and everything, and it can be done here. Point number one. Point number two is every single shop or every single wholesaler at that particular point, ghee can be tested. Testing ghee is not a rocket science, and there will be certainly some very mobile kits by which ghee can be tested. Number three, wherever this adulteration is happening in whosoever areas and it is hitting the retail chain, I think what has come to light based on that, criminal investigation needs to happen. I think if criminality cannot be put in these people, I don't think there are bigger criminals who are picking up 5,000, 10,000 rupees worth of stuff. Most important, we are running a huge empire. Might be worth 10,000, 20,000. I don't know what is the total market capitalization or the economic value of KMF. But suffice to say, you cannot run a health product without having a health intelligence. So you need to have the intelligence there. and only based on your intelligence, because you are the domain expert.
Correct.
You know what is happening where, and you also know your rotten eggs, and you also have clear-cut understanding of what happened in 2018, 2022, in Tirupati, here, and all across the country. Do they have even one business case study to understand how it happens and how would they move forward? They have absolutely nothing. So they are bystanders, and whenever a case of this nature happens, it is taken through the rigmarole or the toolkit of the police, and then it falls somewhere, and that is the end of the story. To set right FDA, I think it will take nothing less than 15 to 20 years if we really mean business. It is that important and that serious. So this is where we are, and the touching at a very ephemeral and a superficial level, and picking up criminal cases and booking some KMF authorized dealer and 2-3 other characters. I found it so funny that in one on the news report it says that these people were trying to organize money for someone's marriage.
Wow.
So this is a level where it can go to. Jokes apart. So if you don't find anything else, start adulterating, start mixing, and you just tell me what is the number of outlets which has been impacted out of this in last 2 years. If you find 30-40% of the outlets in Bangalore are impacted, they don't deserve to get the license. They jolly well know what they are doing.
Correct.
And if they don't know, they are not fit to run their outlet. See,
This is absolutely shocking, and especially Karnataka that banks heavily on
and I am
Nandini
getting
products.
animal fat.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
my puja is spoiled.
Let's just hope it's not gone into our system, but that's a wild wish, because I think for the scale of the racket we see here, it may have entered all our homes, and we're all ardent Nandini users at home. So it's disappointing, but also at the same time, I think it has exposed this racket enough for consumers now to be a little alert. As much as you say it's not on the consumers, it clearly appears with the failure of the system that we've got to, keep vigil on from our end. We've got to be super alert. Thank you very much. I really appreciate Mr. Anantu, Sanjay Sahai, and Professor Bija for joining us on this. We're slipping into a short break. We'll be right back. On the other side, Sheikh Hasina has been awarded a death sentence. Stay with us.
₹25 लाख का हॉस्पिटल बिल है। इतने पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे?
पैसों की चिंता आप मत कीजिए पापा।
मैम, सर का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम अप्रूव हो गया है।
आप
पॉलिसी बाजार।
हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम में हमेशा आपके साथ। पॉलिसी बाजार, 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 550 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
ओह नो, बहुत बोर लग रहा है।
Take a date, not bites.
No added sugar, प्रिजर्वेटिव के बिना। डेट्स, बादाम, पिस्ता, काजू और शहद से तैयार किया गया लायन डेट्स नट बाइट्स।
Lion date, not bites. गजब का है दिन, सोचो जरा।
खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
Welcome back. Let me take you through all that we know on Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We know that she's been awarded a death sentence for alleged crimes against humanity. I'll take you through that story here. In fact, Bangladesh's ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death in absentia for crimes against humanity during last year's mass uprising in Bangladesh under her leadership. It was a 46-day unrest that left nearly 1,400 people dead. The ruling also convicts her former Home Minister, Asaduzaman Khan Kamal, and ex-police chief Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun for allegedly, along with her, carrying out a coordinated crackdown on student protesters. Now, the 453-page verdict was read out for over an hour by the International Crimes Tribunal The courtroom erupted in cheers. Families of victims outside fell to their knees in prayer, rejoicing the verdict that gave Sheikh Hasina a death sentence. Hasina and her Interior Minister, Kamal, are currently fugitives. Hasina, of course, in India. Bangladesh's interim government has submitted an official extradition request to India and has even approached the UN for assistance. So what really happens now? If I could give you a little sense on what this really means, what next for Sheikh Hasina? Well, India has said that it has taken note of the verdict and will continue engaging with all sides to support stability in Bangladesh. But New Delhi has wide legal room now to decline this request as well. Under Article 6 of the 2013 India-Bangladesh Extradition Treaty, the extradition may be refused if the case is considered politically motivated, a charge that Sheikh Hasina has been repeatedly making, saying that this sentence itself and the allegations against me are politically motivated. So India very well, as per its extradition treaty with Bangladesh, can refuse on that ground that this is politically motivated against her, and there could be more human rights violations against her, an unfair trial if she's sent back to Bangladesh. So therefore, India has and is well within the right to refuse it. But nonetheless, India has responded, saying they're looking very keenly into the case and will ensure that a decision will be taken so Bangladesh is stable. Her conviction draws heavily from a UN OHCHR report that blamed state forces for widespread killings during the uprising. Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajib Wazeb, has also called this ruling as premeditated, like Sheikh Hasina herself. In her statement, she says this verdict itself reflects the brazen and murderous intent of extremist figures in an unelected government. She calls this politically motivated. She denies ordering any killings, adding, despite its name, the international international tribunal there is nothing international about it. It's basically impartial. For now, Sheikh Hasina's fate rests almost entirely on India, on New Delhi's next move, whether India accepts Dhaka's extradition request or rejects it, citing political motivations and human rights concerns around a former government head. We got to wait and watch. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal joining us, former Indian diplomat. We also have Salahuddin Shoaib, editor of Blitz, who joins us live from Bangladesh. I'll start with Ambassador Prabhu. Sir, your take on this. Will India extradite Sheikh Hasina? It's a clear-cut question. If you could give us a little on the tenets of the treaty that was signed between India and Bangladesh in 2013, on what grounds can India refuse?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. Now, let me begin by saying that there is significant controversy whether former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina received a fair trial. She and her supporters claim that the trial was a farce, rigged and politically motivated. She has also said that she was not given a fair chance to defend herself in court and would only face the accusers in a proper tribunal, not a kangaroo court. Now, Sheikh Hasina's Awami League party, which was banned from the upcoming elections, has decided that it will not accept this verdict by the kangaroo court. Thus, the fairness of the trial is highly contested. Therefore, India now faces a significant diplomatic challenge and is expected to handle the situation by prioritizing its strategic interests rather than immediately complying with Bangladesh's extradition request. And India has said that as a close neighbor, it remained committed to the best interests of the people of Bangladesh and would continue to engage constructively with all stakeholders towards that end. Let me mention that the External Affairs Ministry of India has said that officials will examine the legal grounds. Now, India could refuse to extradite the former Bangladeshi Prime Minister due to legal complexities, political considerations, and human rights concerns. Now, the 2013 India-Bangladesh Extradition Treaty allows for the rejection of extradition requests if the charges are deemed politically motivated or not in the interest of the judicial process. So India can argue that the case falls under these exceptions despite the charges of murder and genocide. India may prefer to actually delay a decision until the political situation in Bangladesh stabilizes, thus buying time to navigate the complex diplomatic landscape.
Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhary, thanks very much for joining us here on News9. Give us a little sense on, from where you are in Bangladesh right now. We're only looking at celebrations. There's such huge celebratory visuals that we're playing out for our viewers as well. If you could flash that on our screens. So the Aam Janta, is, if I could call them, are celebrating this verdict. They welcome it and they demand that Sheikh Hasina brought back and face trial. Tell us a little more on Sheikh Hasina's statement that you've heard. In fact, before I get to you on that, let's play out for our viewers what Sheikh Hasina has said in an audio message about the verdict that's awarded her death sentence.
আমরা কর্মসূচি দিয়েছি। আমি 13 তারিখের কর্মসূচিতে জনগণ স্বতঃস্ফূর্তভাবে সাড়া দিয়েছেন। আমরা তো ঢাকায় দিয়েছিলাম, কিন্তু সেটা সারা বাংলাদেশ সেটা পালন করে আমাদেরকে অন্তত একটু বলবো যে একটা আস্থা বিশ্বাসের ঠিকানায় পৌঁছে দিয়েছে। আজকে 16, কালকে 17 তারিখ আমাদের যে কর্মসূচি, আমি আশা করি এই কর্মসূচিও বাংলাদেশের মানুষ এটা পালন করে এই সুদখোর খুনি জঙ্গি ইনুস আর তার সাথে এই যারা দোষর তাদেরকে দেখিয়ে দেবে যে বাংলাদেশ জানে কিভাবে তাদের দাবি আদায় করতে হয়, কিভাবে বাংলাদেশ ঘুরে দাঁড়াতে পারে। অন্যায় অবিচার যারা করে তাদের বিচার একদিন বাংলার মাটিতে জনগণই করবে। কাজে আমি সবাইকে বলবো যে কোনো ঘাবড়ানোর কিছু নেই, বেঁচে তো আছি, বেঁচে থাকবো, দেশের মানুষের কল্যাণ আবার করব, আর এই অপরাধীদের বিচার ইনশাল্লাহ বাংলার মাটিতেই করব। আওয়ামী লীগকে রাজনীতি করতে দেবে না, আওয়ামী লীগকে নিষিদ্ধ ঘোষণা করে, আওয়ামী লীগকে নির্বাচন করতে দেবে না, আওয়ামী লীগের নেতা কর্মীদের উপর জুলুম করে এই দলটাকে শেষ করতে চায়। কিন্তু এটা এত সোজা না। মাটি ও মানুষের থেকেই গড়ে উঠেছে এই আওয়ামী লীগ, কোনো অবৈধভাবে ক্ষমতা দখলকারীর পকেট থেকে গড়ে ওঠা না। এই জন্য আওয়ামী লীগের ভিত্তিটা অনেক শক্ত, শিকড় অনেক দূরে প্রথিত, এটা উপড়ে ফেলা তো সহজ নয়।
All right, well, there you have it, a clear message there, calling it politically motivated, and as many words she dissected it. Shoaib, go on. You heard it.
Thank you very much. I'm speaking to you from Dhaka.
Yes.
And for the whole day we have been watching what's happening in Bangladesh. And if I have to tell you what exact happening, people did not go to street today because everyone knew, even schools are closed today because everyone knew there would be anarchy on the street, mostly by the Islamists and jihadists. And you are seeing in the video exactly what is happening. And when the verdict was being read in the so-called ICT, the one group of young people, Yunus loyalists, they went with bulldozers to occupy the home, the residence of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in Nandani, and turn it into a playground. And when this drama was going on with the ICT and the bulldozer at the Dhanbandi, Yunus was signing an agreement and handing over our Laldia terminals to a Danish company named APM Terminals. So this is absolutely a well orchestrated, meticulously plotted, designed conspiracy against Bangladesh, what is happening. And for your kind information, that back in 1971, on the 4th of December, Pakistani military court also handed death penalty to Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. His grave was also ready, but after 12 days, Bangladesh became liberated. And for your information, currently, this regime has brought 583 cases against Sheikh Hasina, out of which there are 324 murder cases. And today's only the ICT has disposed one case. There are 26 more cases with it. So, I mean, all we understand the size, the numbers of the volumes of the cases, it clearly shows that this is a farce trial. And most interestingly and most importantly, the so-called defense counsel for Sheikh Hasina, who was provided by the Irus regime, and this gentleman is a anti-Awami League bloc. He was smiling, saying that he is very sorry his client did not get justice, and he was laughing. So, and the chief prosecutor of this ICT is a prominent leader of Jamaat Islami. Most of the leaders are from members of this ICT are either from Jamaat or BNP. So, it's altogether it's a drama orchestrated in the name of justice. But what is, as a journalist, what now I understand that most of the Western countries, European nations also, they don't support death penalty. So when Yunus has given this death penalty handed to Sheikh Hasina, I'm sure there will be lots of reactions from the Western nations, and particularly at a moment when Yunus' main guardian, the United States, the US deep state, Tulsi Gabbard, on the 25th of October has clearly declared that America is retreating from its regime change plot. So I can only say that Yunus has stepped into a bigger crisis today with this verdict and with all other things that I have explained to you.
Okay. A final word, Ambassador Prabhu Dayal. They call the court itself as a kangaroo court, the International Court Tribunal in Bangladesh, not taking it seriously at all as to what verdict was given. Is that something that will, not hold water in the long run? Is this verdict really here to hold? Give us a little sense on that. Could we really trivialize this court as a kangaroo court verdict?
Yes, of course, many sections in Bangladesh are categorizing this court as a kangaroo court. There is no doubt that this judgment and this entire trial is politically motivated. And the 2013 India-Bangladesh extradition treaty allows for the rejection of extradition requests if the charges are deemed politically motivated. And these charges against Sheikh Hasina are, without any doubt, they are politically motivated. So there is no doubt that India should refuse to extradite. Of course, India's refusal would likely strain the bilateral ties with Bangladesh's current interim government. But I don't think it would cause a complete breakdown of relations in the long term. And the final decision, of course, will depend more on diplomatic negotiations and geopolitical considerations rather than solely on whatever the Bangladesh's interim government is asking. As I said, it was a kangaroo court. The Awami League and several other sections in Bangladesh have rejected this verdict. Sheikh Hasina has also outright rejected it. And there is considerable
Hasina, of course, will reject it. But Shoaib, how credible is the International Court Tribunal's verdict? How credible is it viewed by the Bangladeshi public?
You see, this ICT was formulated in 1973 to try the collaborators of Pakistan. And now Yunus has, through a decree, has empowered it to try Sheikh Hasina and others. So itself, this decree is illegal, and Yunus has no legal validity. Whatever his regime, he is claiming himself to be a chief advisor, it lacks any legal ground. So Yunus is illegal. This ICT is illegal, and also I'd like to humbly draw your attention and the attention of His Excellency Ambassador Dayal to something, that immediately after the verdict, some pro-Yunus leaders, they held a press conference and threatened of sheltering terrorists from India inside Bangladesh and terrorizing India if India does not extradite or return, in their word, Sheikh Hasina to Bangladesh. So you can understand, they have given a verdict which is questionable, and now Yunus has assigned his own muscle power to threaten India clearly with the threat of terrorist attack. I have the video of that particular video. I have, and that's why I'm saying it on record. So Yunus is threatening India of terrorist attack, and I, as the counter-terrorism researcher, I know there is already activities of Pakistani ISI in Bangladesh and Pakistani terrorist entities such as Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed in this country. So with this questionable verdict, they are asking for extradition. On the other hand, he has mobilized his muscle man to threaten India of terrorist attack if India does not return Sheikh Hasina. I mean, it's a kind of the Al-Qaeda pattern.
No, absolutely, and India is no small fish. India has shown Pakistan and put them in their place. Bangladesh,
India is a very strong country, and that's why I'm saying that you can understand the nature of Yunus.
True.
He is a criminal, and I've been saying he is the Osama bin Laden of today's world. Though this is threatening India to return Sheikh Hasina with a terrorist attack. I mean, India can always take legal action, due course of action against Bangladesh now for that particular threat.
We'll see what India's response would rightly be, and it's now entirely on New Delhi's decision on whether Sheikh Hasina goes back or not. Thanks very much, Ambassador Prabhu and Shoaib, for joining us on this. A quick break. We'll be right back with all our top stories on Day Tonight.
अर्जुन कुछ भी पढ़े मेमोरी में नहीं रहता.
Take a date, not bites.
नो एडेड शुगर, प्रिजर्वेटिव के बिना डेट्स, बादाम, पिस्ता, काजू और शहद से तैयार किया गया लायन डेट्स नट बाइट्स.
Lion date, not bites.
Wow, so you use this trading app too? Yes, because it promises guaranteed returns. Guaranteed returns. Your trading app is authentic, right? Here's the catch. First, they promise guaranteed high returns with a grin. Then trick you to download a fake app and pull you in.
Well said, well said.
SEBI and NSE advice. Download apps only from the verified apps list on SEBI's investor site. An investor awareness initiative by SEBI and NSE.
पेंटिंग में पहली बार बिरला ओपर्स एश्योरेंस. 1 साल में पेंट को कुछ भी हुआ तो पेंटिंग वापस करके देंगे. रजिस्टर करो birlaopus.com पर.
Welcome back. All right, let's quickly cut across to our top story on Umrah, a massive tragedy that has struck Indian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. At least 45 Umrah pilgrims from India are feared dead after a horrific road accident in the early hours today. 45 Indians who were in Saudi Arabia performing their Umrah unfortunately died. A passenger bus travelling from Mecca to Medina collided with a diesel tanker at around 1:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time near a location identified as Mufarahat. Most passengers, including women, children and several pilgrims, were from Hyderabad. They were reportedly asleep when the crash occurred. Local reports say that the bus caught fire instantly, leaving passengers with very little or no chance to escape. In fact, there's one survivor of them all. That's it. Of the 45 people on board, one survivor, identified as Muhammad Abdul Shoaib, has been traced down. His condition remains unknown though. Early inputs indicate that 20 women, 11 children were among the passengers, and largely from Hyderabad. And we hear 18 members of one single family have died. 18 members of one family. Authorities in Saudi Arabia are still working to confirm the final death toll and identify the victims. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has reviewed the situation, confirming that the Indian Embassy in Riyadh and Consulate in Jeddah are providing all assistance. Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy has expressed shock and also promised that all officials are coordinating with. In fact, they're right now speaking with the MEA and Saudi authorities to ensure safe transfer of mortal remains. In fact, we hear that the cremation will happen in Saudi Arabia itself. A control room has been set up in the Secretariat to assist the families in Telangana. Hyderabad MP Asaduddin Owaisi has urged the centre to ensure the bodies are brought back to India swiftly and those injured receive proper care. Saudi rescue teams continue efforts to contain the fire and helpline numbers have been put out. A nighttime tragedy that this was, a pilgrimage that turned into absolute tragedy. In fact, all the 45 people had already completed Umrah. They were on their way, they were there in Saudi for 15 days, finished Umrah, and they were on their way to Medina when this tragedy struck. Now, a major breakthrough, in fact, in the Red Fort blast case. If I could take you through, investigators now believe that Jaish terrorist and university professor Umar Mohammad may have been a shoe bomber using an explosive hidden in his footwear to trigger the deadly attack. A shoe recovered from under the right front tire of Umar's Hyundai i20. The vehicle used in the blast contained a metal-like mechanism suspected to be the trigger. Forensics also detected TATP, the highly volatile mother of Satan explosive on the shoe, the tire and the blast site. The Red Fort blast also involved a mix of TATP and ammonium nitrate with more explosives found under the car's rear seat. Umar reportedly radicalized some students, even attempting soft conversion of a woman from Imphal who rejected his ideology. In a fresh development, the NIA has made 2 key arrests in the Delhi Red Fort blast case. Amir Rashid Ali is accused of helping Umar buy explosive-laden I-20, while Jasir Bilal Wani was arrested for providing technical support, modifying drones and attempting to assemble crude rocket systems. Teams are now probing a wider network across Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, Haryana, UP, examining vehicles, questioning nearly 73 witnesses. Delhi police has also issued a fresh advisory asking and urging citizens to remain vigilant and stay alert, act like eyes and ears and nose of the police officers, and ensure any suspicious event or object is reported. The death toll now in that case, the Delhi blast case, has now risen to 15. All right, we have some news coming in from Karnataka's Belagavi Kittur Rani Chennamma mini zoo. In Karnataka's Belagavi, the Kittur Rani Chennamma mini zoo in Karnataka is in the middle of a major wildlife crisis. 31 black bucks have been reported dead in just 3 days with no clear cause as yet. What began as a routine monitoring turned into emergency when 8 black bucks died within an hour's time. By Saturday, we hear 20 more were dead, followed by 3 others, leaving the remaining animals critically ill. Special team from Bannerghatta National Park is now leading second round postmortems and testing food and water samples. But contradictory explanations from officials have now deepened suspicion. Some told the minister the deaths were caused by contaminated feed, while some officials told the media that it was a bacterial infection even before an FSL report arrived. Early veterinary signs point to a possible hemorrhagic or bacterial disease, but activists blame poor surveillance, delayed response and weak health checks for the black bucks brought from Gadag 4 to 5 years ago. Forest officer Ishwar Khandre, minister, has ordered a full-scale probe, warning strict action if there is negligence on the zoo's part. The investigation will also look at contaminated food or water and whether infection spread from nearby domestic animals. With fresh samples now at Bannerghatta's diagnostic lab, central question here is how this disease broke out in such a fashion and what is this disease that's killed so many black bucks. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I wish you a great night.
$25 लाख का हॉस्पिटल बिल है, इतने पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे?
पैसों की चिंता आप मत कीजिए पापा।
मैम, सर का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम अप्रूव हो गया है।
आप
पॉलिसी बाजार।
हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम में हमेशा आपके साथ पॉलिसी बाजार। 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 550 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
कुछ भी खा नहीं पा रहा हूँ, बहुत अपसेट हूँ।
Take a date, not bites.
नो एडेड शुगर, प्रिजर्वेटिव के बिना। डेट्स, बादाम, पिस्ता, काजू और शहद से तैयार किया गया लायन डेट्स नट बाइट्स।
Lion date, not bites.
अपनी सुपर पावर यूज करने का टाइम आ गया।
आप टेंशन मत लीजिए, IIFL फाइनेंस से झटपट गोल्ड लोन लीजिए और बिजनेस आगे बढ़ाइए।
लाइफ जब भी आगे बढ़ने का मौका दे, अपनी सुपर पावर, अपना गोल्ड यूज करिए और IIFL फाइनेंस से गोल्ड लोन लीजिए।
IIFL फाइनेंस करता है सीधी बात।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
जी, आपने भारत कनेक्ट का नाम सुना है?
शादी वादी कराना है क्या?
शादी नहीं, 5 लाख एजेंट्स की मदद से बिल पेमेंट्स पॉसिबल बनाते हैं।
ओ,
जैसे अभी किया।
शाबाश।
आप हमें जानते नहीं पर मानते जरूर हैं। हम हैं भारत कनेक्ट।
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9. English news as it should be.
Hello and welcome. You are watching News9. I'm Krishna Kumar. These are the headlines that we're tracking. Big finding by the NIA in the Delhi terror attack probe. Another accused arrested. Danish, a Jaish-e-Mohammed operative, and Dr. Umar's aide modified drones and rockets as part of the terror module's Hamas-like attack in Delhi. Bangladesh